guys, let's go fishing. All right. Hey, kid, there's already one down here.
Come on, man. Should we try to catch a fish?
Hi, I'm Bob Jensen. This is Fishing the Midwest. Thanks for stopping by. A great way to start any fishing season is by chasing panfish. You know, panfish season typically opens as soon as the ice goes out. Walleyes, bass, northern pike, muskies, you got to wait till season opens. Panfish, you can fish right away. We're going to start out fishing panfish with John Peterson and Chip Leer. After that, we're going to the Bay of Green Bay to catch walleyes right out of Oconto, Wisconsin. First, though, it's panfish. Here we go. For many anglers across the Midwest, their first fishing trip of the open water season is an excursion into the shallows in search of panfish. Some chase panfish because the walleye, bass, muskie, and northern pike seasons aren't open yet, but others are after panfish for several simple reasons. First of all, panfish are great in the table. Secondly, they can be easy to catch. Another reason is that it's just good to get in the water again. But mostly, the reason to pursue panfish is that they're just plain fun to catch. And they're plentiful across the Midwest. Those are a bunch of reasons to go fishing for panfish as soon as the ice goes out. Last spring, Chip Leer called me. He said the panfish were in the shallows in the lakes around Walker, Minnesota. Chip said that he and John Peterson were catching them big time, and I should come up. Chip even said that he would provide the boat. When I get the chance to fish with Chip or John, I'm there. They're both outstanding anglers, and they're just good guys to share a boat with. I threw a couple of rods and reels in the back of the truck and headed north for Walker. This was a good day to head north for fishing or whatever. We saw all sorts of geese heading back to their nesting grounds on this day. We also saw all sorts of panfish looking for places to build their nests.
Just a little guy. Fun guy.
This bluegill was in water that was a little deeper.
Boy, they're brighter.
Aren't they pretty?
Color.
They are just so pretty.
Look at that.
This is just fun stuff.
Down he goes.
We're catching all species of fish in these shallows. We're getting bluegills, pumpkin seeds, rock bass, perch, little largemouth bass. Then JP has a bigger one take his bait.
Is it really?
Oh yeah, you never know what you're gonna catch here.
You don't, do you? It's a pretty big one, too.
It's a good one. Who are you kidding?
Look at that. Jeepers, right in here with these 10-inch bluegills.
Yeah, see,
8-inch bluegills.
You're fishing panfish. You never
What do you
know
think you
you're
like
gonna
for
end up.
lunch?
Look at that guy.
Nice largemouth bass. But that's what you get once you get back here in the reeds and back in the thick, heavy cover. You never know if you're going to get a bluegill, crappie, largemouth bass is where they all live.
Yeah, there's just a lot of life in here, isn't there?
Yeah, there is, especially early in the year. When the water is just warming up, they seek this warmer water in the shallows.
Boy, this day in the water is starting off the right way. Beautiful weather and biting fish. And as the water warms, the bite will hopefully get better. Let's take a break from pan fishing and go to Cabela's to check out a new rod series. It's Cabela's own Platinum ZX series. Brandon, Cabela's has developed a bunch of different rod series. I've been hearing a lot about the Platinum ZX. What's the deal with that?
Our Cabela's Platinum ZX is one of our newer rods. It features a super lightweight blank. It's 64 million modulus graphite, which is about 30% stronger and 15% lighter than our previous model. The rod also features the K-Series Fuji guides. They're set forward. It allows for less line twist, especially when you're using super lines and longer, more accurate casts. The reel seat is our soft grip reel seat, so it's also lightweight and sensitive. The locking nut is machined aluminum, so it also cuts down on weight and allows for more sensitivity. And the casting rod has an open blank on the reel seat.
And that makes it more sensitive.
Correct.
You put your finger right under it, makes it more sensitive. Yep. And they're available in casting and spinning models.
Casting and spinning, and there's lots and lots of different sizes, actions for multiple uses. It's our Platinum ZX rod, and it's only available at Cabela's.
Thanks, Brandon. That Platinum ZX series of rods are really nice. Cabela's has a bunch of different series of rods that you should check out. Oh, it's so much fun to fish panfish on a nice day in the spring. When we come back, we'll continue chasing panfish. Stay tuned. Fishing the Midwest is brought to you by Impulse. Excite the bite with scent, color, and action. Fraybill. Trusted gear since 1938. WalleyeLeather.com. If you are a truly rabid walleye person, you should have already had this stuff. Dakota Grills. Unleash your inner chef. Welcome back to Fishing the Midwest. It's a beautiful day in the spring and the panfish are biting. Let's catch some more. We moved into some heavier cover to see if the action could be even better. Chip had these ideas about sunlight and heavier cover. These guys with this bright sun, Chip, does that affect them at all?
I definitely think so. I mean, I think that's why we're seeing some of these smaller ones up here today. The bigger ones are probably going to end up to be just a little bit deeper. I mean, they're like all other fish. They don't come up here to sun themselves, really. I mean, they're up here to warm up and feed, but they're not going to, if it gets too sunny, they're going to fall down into the heavier, thicker cover where they're more comfortable and feel safe.
Chip explains what we're doing to catch these panfish.
We've got a slight wind coming from our stern, just kind of pushing ourselves through these bulrushes, and we're casting forward. I mean, these are really tough lanes to get through, especially if you try to go cross them. Try to work either directly into the wind or go with the wind, and just flipping these our floats and jigs straight out in front of the boat. Well, then when we get an area that we like, I'm just reaching over, hitting the button, dropping the talons to lock us down and anchor us in shallow water, and we can thoroughly work an area. Because the thing about this is once you find one of these fish, you're going to find a number of them in the same area.
By the same token though, Chip, anybody with any boat could just drop their anchor and hold in that position just like this too. That talon is a slick deal. It's a shallow water anchoring system. You push a button and the talon deploys and locks you in position. This talon drifting deal is a great technique for working shallow water panfish and bass also. Today it's working big time for panfish.
There, I got you, little sucker.
Ooh, that's a bigger one.
A little bit nicer one.
That's a bigger one, absolutely. John, when you're fishing different types of panfish, do you use different sizes of baits?
Well, one thing about a bluegill, or pumpkin seed that you see here, their mouth is obviously awful small, and therefore, you can't fish a bait small enough. The smaller the better, as far as I'm concerned, Bob, with bluegills. Crappie, they have a much bigger mouth, and you can get by with a much bigger bait, but just ideal suited for, small fish like the bluegill.
Here's what we're tying to the end of our line. It's a Firefly jig, 64th or 32nd ounce, a split shot up the line a bit, and we're tipping the jigs with impulse. Several different shapes are working, but the 1-inch mini smelt is really good. Get it, Bob? Yeah, I did.
Attaboy.
I did. He came in and he looked at it and he hit it. Then he spit it, took it in, spit it back out, and
come back and grab it again?
Came back and grabbed it again. These are all nice hand size. I mean, they cover your hand.
Oh yeah, they're nice.
Boy, when those panfish move shallow, they can be so easy to catch and so much fun. When we come back, we'll be chasing panfish some more. Stay tuned. Fishing the Midwest is presented by Northland Fishing Tackle, made by fishermen for fishermen. Cabela's, it's in your nature. Ranger Boats, still building legends one at a time. Growth Energy, America's ethanol supporters. Welcome back to Fishing the Midwest. Wherever you live in the Midwest, this shallow water early season panfish thing is an opportunity you gotta take advantage of. Let's take advantage of it some more. Now we're all in the front of the boat. That Z521 Ranger that Chip runs has a huge front deck. Lots of room for anglers to move around. Really a nice boat. When you think panfish, you often think of light line, and usually that's a good idea. But panfish in heavy cover require heavier line to get them out. We're using a minimum of 6-pound test bionic panfish line, and 8-pound test is actually working better. When these guys start swimming in circles and wrapping around the rushes, you need heavier line to get them out.
There we go. Got him.
Got him?
Yep.
Attaboy.
Oh, nice one.
Nice.
There we go. Oh, I just love it when they go on the big
oh, yeah.
spiral.
Big circle.
Look at this guy right here.
There's a nice big.
That's more along the lines of what we're trying to catch there. Look at that guy.
Bigger than a hand.
Isn't that awesome, JP?
Awesome.
Look at him. Look at.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big bull.
It really gets fun when you can see them down there. This is just good stuff.
He's got it, Bob. He's got it. Nice.
Whoa.
Oh, and you can watch him bite. Is that awesome? That's a tank.
Isn't that something?
That is a tank.
When you can, he came in and looked at it, And we, I'll put him your way.
Thank you very much. Oh, is he pretty?
Kidding. He just came in and looked at it and looked at. Chip, you know, something that's really important is having your bobber set at the right depth. I mean, where the bait is in relation to the fish is really an important thing, isn't it?
Well, that's what we just had happen there. We actually saw those fish swimming in those rushes. You went in there and I pulled up. I'm sitting here holding mine because I knew right away that I was too shallow. And you know what? That's those kind of days that determine how aggressive fish are. The more aggressive they are, the more willing they are to swim a distance to get to a bait. Today we're finding these fish aren't that aggressive. We got to put it right on their nose. And you did that right there.
And so, you know, when you're setting your bobber, something that's really important, you don't want the bait under them by any means, especially in this clear water.
No.
A little bit above them is okay.
That's absolutely key. You want to go, they will go up to eat, but they rarely, especially panfish, will rarely go down to eat.
We also found crappies in with the bluegills.
There it goes. Oh, what's crappie, guys?
Oh boy.
Oh, he rolled up on that thing. Yeah, come here.
So the crappies and the bass and everything is mixed right in together.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what we're seeing happening up here today. I mean, there's everything is up here eating. I mean, that's the beautiful part about spring. I mean, this water's warming up, the bait's up here, the bluegills, the panfish are up here, the bass are up here, everything's up here.
When does this bite in these shallows, when does it start in the year and when does it stop?
Gosh, I think it's anywhere from middle of May till middle of June. There's fish up here all summer. The bigger ones are going to be here.
Look at the mouth in that guy.
But I think that the middle of May to middle of June, northern Minnesota, these fish are going to hang around up here until it gets too warm. And it gets warm, they just move right out there and hang off that break for the summer, and that's it.
Another slab crappie.
Look at the size of that one,
Crappie.
Bob.
Look at that guy.
That is a toad.
Ooh.
Nice.
Is he a swinger?
I don't know.
Swing him.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
I think we can swing him.
You swung him.
I swung him. Yeah. Ooh.
Nice crappie.
Yeah, it is.
It is. Yeah, really nice. Jeepers, they're fun, aren't they? You know, so much of the time we think of bobber fishing as being something for beginners and that sort of thing. But you know, when it comes to the ultimate presentation, there's nothing like a bobber, is there?
No, I mean, bobbers is an art form. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, it's one of the oldest forms of fishing, but it's also still one of the most effective, especially slip bobbers like we're using here today that allow us to adjust the height of the lure. But most importantly, it allows that bait to sink down in front of that fish's mouth, and that fish swims up and takes a look at it. I mean, it hangs right in front of their nose.
And these slip bobbers are so much more effective than the fixed position bobbers, aren't they?
The depth of it is so adjustable. We've seen that today. We've had to go shallower, and it's just a slip knot attached to your line. You can move it up, move it down to whatever depth that you want to target. The float's going to stop. It actually has a brass grommet, oversized hole. Even though we're using a little heavier line than usually for panfishing today, lots of room for this to slip easily.
The action just keeps getting better. Here's a slab bluegill.
There's a better one.
There's the big one.
That is a better one.
Good job, Bob.
Boy. You know, if you want to keep some of these, 2 per person would be enough, wouldn't it?
Yeah, Bob. If you want fish like that for the frying pan, a fish of that size, I mean, 1 fish will feed a person. I mean, that's a 10-inch bluegill. You know, you can hurt the resource on these bluegills and crappies and that stuff too. So you never want to abuse the resource. Keep what you want for food and let the rest go.
Yeah, you know, most of these guys have just got to go back.
It's the way to preserve our resources for the next generation, and that's really important that everybody remembers that.
What an afternoon in the water. Just a great way to start the fishing season. When the panfish start invading the shallows early in the open water season, you owe it to yourself to be there with them. On this trip to the Walker area, we stayed at the Chase in the lake. The Chase provides a great view of Leech Lake. It's an historic hotel with a great restaurant. Bowling downstairs if you want, close to Uptown Walker, good place to stay. Boy, wherever you live in the Midwest, this panfish thing is such a nice deal early in the year. Take advantage of it. When we come back, we'll be chasing walleyes in the Bay of Green Bay, just out of Oconto, Wisconsin. Stay tuned. Fishing the Midwest is presented by Bionic Line, your fish, your line. Beautiful Cabotogama Lake, gateway to Voyageurs National Park. Evinrude E-Tech, 300 hours, no dealer scheduled maintenance. Nature's Fury, all the vitamins, more juice. Welcome back to Fishing the Midwest. The Bay of Green Bay is one of the best walleye fisheries anywhere. We're going to be fishing out of a Conto, chasing walleyes with crankbaits. Here we go. Trolling crankbaits is a great way to catch walleyes almost anywhere. And most of the time, the more crankbaits you can get in the water, the better your chance for success. Planer boards will enable you to get more lines in the water more efficiently. Today, Captain Steve Paulson, Paul Earforth, and I are going to pull crankbaits behind inline planer boards for walleyes on the Bay of Green Bay out of Oconto County in eastern Wisconsin. It's mid-May, late afternoon, and the conditions are perfect for catching walleyes. Fish on.
Go ahead and step back a little bit. Oh, there is something there. I'll be darned.
We need the net.
Wow.
That one was a baby, but the deal is those offshore planer boards are so easy to read, they make it possible to detect those small fish. With a lot of other boards, we would have pulled that little guy around not knowing he was there. Offshore boards will put more fish in the boat for you. This next fish is the right species. Steve offers this idea for fine-tuning your crankbait presentation regarding color. Steve, we've got 6 colors out there, and all of our walleyes so far have come in that color. How long before you start switching colors to match that?
Yeah, this is our second walleye that came on the same bait. We're running 6 colors, and that same bait caught 2 fish. We're gonna switch up here. We're gonna probably run 3 or 4 of that color. That just seems to be the color they want today, so we're gonna go with it.
And sometimes the fish are just hungry and they'll eat whatever crankbait you put down there.
There it is right there on the surface. That's a walleye.
That's a walleye.
Yeah, that's a decent walleye.
Yeah,
More decent.
that's one of these beautiful Oconto County
Yep,
walleyes.
look at there. And now that one came with Fire Tiger.
Yeah, here we got the Fire Tiger to pull a nice walleye out of the bay here for us. I guess it doesn't matter what color, they're going for it all.
It's one of these beautiful walleyes we catch in these waters. Like to catch a lot more of those every day.
Here's what we're doing. We're getting on the upwind side of the structure we want to fish and setting out our lines. We let the bait out anywhere from 70 to about 100 feet. We might let a line or two out a little further, then we clip on the board and let it out. Outside board goes 50 or 60 feet, then we put out the rest of the boards. We move downwind using the iPilot on the electric motor to adjust our trolling pass. Whenever we hook a fish, we mark that spot with an icon on the depth finder. When we get to the end of our pass, we pull the lines and run back upwind and start another pass. We want to be moving with the wind. If our pass was productive, we can replicate it pretty exactly just by looking at our trail on the right side of the depth finder. We have several different crankbaits in the water, and we caught fish in most of them. That new Executor from Salmo is really turning heads in the walleye world. It has a great walleye shape. A bionic walleye line in 10 or 12 pound test is about right. It has some stretch built in, and some stretch is a good thing when pulling crankbaits. One universal rule of fishing is that if you're not catching them doing what you're doing, do something else. Steve, you know, with these planer boards, you can pull a variety of baits, and walleyes like a variety of baits. Spinners and crankbaits are 2 really good things to put behind planer boards. When would you use one versus the other?
One thing really nice about pulling cranks is if you're not sure where the fish are, you can cover water a lot faster. Get you in on the fish, you know, I mean, dial in on a spot, and then if you want to change over to crawlers, you can. You know, as far as colors, you let the fish decide what they want. If you got a color that's working good, don't be afraid to change up. Let them have what they want. Every day could be a little different. We let these walleyes tell us what they want. Day by day, it changes by the day.
Sometimes it even changes hour by hour, you know, if the sun goes out or comes under.
Yeah, absolutely. These fish, they change as far as like how much line you need to let out. I mean, they move up and down in the water column throughout the day. So you got to be really adaptable when it comes to fishing walleyes.
So Steve, we've been going 1.1, 1.2 today. Are there times when you either fast troll or troll slower?
Yeah, there are times, you know, sometimes you want to pick up your speed a little bit. Sometimes the fish are more aggressive than other times. Like pulling our cranks here, we're trying to run about 1.7, 1.8.
There's another one. This is a fast bite. Steve, I noticed when that board went back, you immediately went to the depth finder.
Yep, I always look at that. I look at the spot. You know, a lot of times I'll mark an icon on the depth finder, on the GPS. I check the speed to see if we're going 1.7 or 1.9 when the fish hit, you know, to kind of give us a really good idea what they're looking for.
See him back there?
Go ahead and step back. There we go. Nice.
It is really important though to check the speed and location of where the bite occurred, and with those Humminbird electronics, the details are all right there, easy to see. Steve, all these reels we're using have line counters, so we know exactly how far we're letting the bait out. And that's a pretty important thing, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Line counter reels are a very good tool. The thing with catching walleyes is you want to repeat what you did. You know, if you got 60 feet of line out, 80 feet of line, you want to repeat that. You want to pay attention how much line you got out on each one, and that's what you want to do for the day. It could change throughout the day, but at that moment, if you catch a fish, you want to get everything kind of set back the same way.
Because 60 feet of line out, the bait will run deep, at a different depth than it will with 80 feet of line out.
Absolutely.
80 feet will run deeper.
Yep, 80 feet will get you down deeper. You know, it might only be a few feet, but that could be all the difference in the world of catching these fish or not getting them.
And one of the keys with any fish is to keep the bait above the fish.
You definitely want to stay above the fish. Yep.
Pulling crankbaits behind planer boards is a great technique for walleyes, and the Bay of Green Bay outside of Oconto County is a great place to do that. Almost wherever you fish for walleyes, crankbaits behind planer boards will catch walleyes. Find out for yourself this year. Crankbaits catch walleyes anywhere in the Midwest, and remember those panfish. They're such a good thing to take advantage of. Hey, for all of us that fish in the Midwest, thanks for stopping by. Be nice to one another. We'll see you again next time.